To the millions of fans who grew up watching the idyllic streets of Mayberry, the Taylor household was the ultimate symbol of American warmth. We saw Sheriff Andy, young Opie, and the nurturing Aunt Bee as a perfect family unit. But behind the scenes of the Andy Griffith Show, the reality was far more fractured. The red-haired, cheerful kid everyone loved, Ron Howard, carried a secret for decades. While the world saw a sweet bond between a boy and his great-aunt, Howard was navigating a professional environment defined by tension, coldness, and a personality clash that never truly healed. Today, on Prestige Buzz, we're pulling back the curtain on the real reason Ron Howard and Frances Bavier couldn't stand each other, and how those early lessons shaped the man who would become one of Hollywood's greatest directors. If you love deep dives into Hollywood history, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Prestige Buzz, and hit that bell notification so you never miss a story. Born Ronald William Howard on March 1, 1954, Ron was destined for the spotlight. With parents already established in the industry, he was appearing in classics like The Twilight Zone and Dennis the Menace by age 5. However, his life changed forever in 1960 when he was cast as Opie Taylor. For 8 seasons, Ron Howard grew up in front of the camera. He was the heart of a show that radiated nostalgia and old-fashioned Americana. Alongside Andy Griffith and the legendary Don Knotts, the cast felt like a real family to viewers. But even as a child, Ron was a storyteller in training, observing everything, including the sharp shift in atmosphere whenever Frances Bavier walked onto the set. Frances Bavier was a veteran of the New York stage, a serious professional who brought a high level of discipline to her role. To the audience, she was the lady of the house, famous for her home-cooked meals and gentle wisdom. Off-camera, however, she was the polar opposite of her character. Bavier was notoriously private, guarded, and often prickly. While Andy Griffith was outgoing and collaborative, Bavier preferred solitude. What some saw as professionalism, others, including Ron Howard, experienced as a cold, rigid distance. The tension wasn't just a bad day at the office, it was a fundamental clash of styles. Actor Howard Morris once described navigating a conversation with Bavier as walking through a minefield. Simple requests to move for a camera angle could be met with sharp resistance. For a young Ron Howard, this created an environment of quiet tension that contrasted painfully with the hugs and smiles seen in the script. One specific memory stayed with Howard for his entire life: the filming of the famous pickle episode. In the story, Aunt Bee makes a batch of kerosene-tasting pickles that the family has to pretend to love. In reality, Ron Howard hated pickles. Yet, because of the strict and somewhat intimidating atmosphere Bavier projected, he didn't feel he could speak up. He endured take after take, forcing down the sour food while acting opposite a woman who offered no warmth once the cameras stopped rolling. He learned early on how to endure discomfort quietly, a skill that would serve him well in the high-pressure world of directing, but one that left a mark on his childhood. The distance wasn't exclusive to Ron. Andy Griffith himself had a famously strained relationship with Bavier. In a poignant attempt to bridge the gap, Griffith once made an unannounced visit to Bavier's home to clear the air. Instead of a reconciliation, Bavier viewed the surprise as a massive intrusion of her privacy. The wall between them grew even taller. It is a striking irony: the town of Mayberry represented emotional safety and unity, yet its stars carried a resentment that followed them for decades. It reminds us that even the most comforting worlds are built by imperfect people. While his early career was marked by the coldness of a TV ant, Ron Howard's personal life became the antithesis of Hollywood drama. In an industry of fleeting romances, Ron found a partnership that has endured for half a century. In June 2025, Ron and his wife, Cheryl, celebrated a staggering 50 years of marriage. They met at 16, and for Ron, there was never anyone else. Their first date involved pizza and a mint green Volkswagen Beetle, a car Ron still treasures today. Cheryl wasn't just a director's wife, she was the grounding force. She actually turned down his first 2 marriage proposals, wanting to ensure she had her own identity before merging her life with his. Together, they raised 4 children away from the Hollywood machine, prioritizing communication and evolution. For Ron, Cheryl was the warmth he lacked on those early sets. Ron Howard eventually successfully crossed the rarest divide in Hollywood, moving from child star to Oscar-winning director. After the success of Happy Days, he traded his Richie Cunningham image for a director's chair. His breakthrough came with hits like Splash and Apollo 13, but it was A Beautiful Mind that cemented his legacy. The film, starring Russell Crowe, won Howard the Academy Award for Best Director. However, the triumph came with its own set of behind-the-scenes drama. Critics accused Howard of smoothing the rough edges of mathematician John Nash's life. Howard defended his choices, stating he prioritized emotional clarity over a literal biography, a lesson in storytelling he'd been refining since his days in Mayberry. Today, Ron Howard is known as Hollywood's calm center. He is the man studios call when they want a masterpiece without the ego. But Howard has recently proven that his calmness isn't a lack of conviction. When he adapted Hillbilly Elegy for Netflix, he saw it as a human story about a complicated family. He approached it with empathy for the man behind it, J.D. Vance. However, as Vance transitioned into a polarizing political figure, Howard found himself quietly unsettled. Watching this transformation stirred a familiar feeling from his childhood. It reminded him of Aunt B, the realization that people can present one face to the world while hiding another. He realized that warmth can be performed and that narratives can be misleading. Ron Howard's journey from a 6-year-old boy forced to eat pickles opposite a cold co-star to a legendary filmmaker is a story of resilience. He learned early on to look past the front porch facade of Mayberry and see the truth. His message to us today is simple: question the narratives you are given. Whether it's a sitcom aunt or a political figure, the performance isn't always the reality. Ron Howard has spent 70 years in the public eye, and if he's learned anything, it's that the most important stories are the ones that happen when the cameras are off. What do you think about Ron Howard's secret history with Frances Bavier? Does it change the way you look at the Andy Griffith Show? Let us know in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to like, subscribe to Prestige Buzz, and turn on that notification bell for more exclusive stories on your favorite stars.